So I'm doing the carnivore diet. I'm very new. I have been doing it for 7 days. Today's the seventh day. And I was having a conversation with a friend last night at a party, and he was very fascinated by this whole concept of just eating meat, no veggies allowed. And he was very interested genuinely why I was doing it and all that. And it got me thinking I should start an Instagram story vlog for accountability. That way I am reporting back to you, whoever's interested, whoever's tuning in, on how I feel, if I'm actually experiencing the benefits of it, if I'm experiencing any side effects from it. That way I can't quit. That would be a good way for me to just stick with it, thinking, oh, okay, on the next video I'm going to report this and this, so I have to stick with it and see where it goes and where it takes me. So I'm starting this all for completely selfish reasons, and hopefully it will maybe touch someone and benefit somebody. Who knows? So just to give a little, for this first video, give a little bit of context and history. I watched a YouTube video of a psychologist that I really respect, and he was talking about how the carnivore diet helped him, actually completely cured, according to his accounts, cured him of depression and anxiety. That was my starting point, because that's something I struggled with my whole life. A lot of things helped immensely. Hypnotherapy is one of the things, and tweaking my diet a lot is another thing. Throughout this journey with these issues, although with that I am still struggling with it one way or another. So hearing this was my starting point. I said to myself, okay, I can do this. I am not a huge fan of meat. I do eat meat. I like meat. So I said I can do it. I like eggs. On the carnivore diet, you basically have to eat only animal products and not a lot of dairy, because the idea is to do a zero carb diet, and a lot of cheeses have carbs in them, and milk has a lot of sugar and carbs. But just to give a general context, and you can find out more about the details of carnivore online. The purpose of this vlog is to report back to you my findings and what I experienced personally with it, especially when it comes to mental health. But I'm not going to limit reporting the benefits and side effects, or the benefits of it, only for mental health. That will be my primary goal. I will also report to you everything I'm feeling, physically and mentally. So watching this psychologist's YouTube video, and then delving into, I've by now probably watched about close to 50 carnivore videos on YouTube, did a lot of research on it, and I like what I'm hearing about the benefits people are getting as far as mental health, mental clarity, fixing these neuropsychological disorders and conditions. And also people fixing their autoimmune diseases that doctors told them, oh, this is irreversible, like Hashimoto's is one of them. Psoriasis is another that I hear commonly on these YouTube videos. So I'm starting this thing, and again, this is going to be an accountability thing for me, and I hope someone will benefit from this. And I will be fully transparent about how I feel, if not day to day, probably every few days I'll make one of these videos and keep it here in highlights on Instagram as a vlog. And fully transparent, what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling down, I'll do a video about that. If I'm feeling this miraculous benefit, I'll tell you all about that. If I'm experiencing a frustrating side effect, I'll tell you all about it. And to give a bit of personal history about me, by now you already know I have struggled with depression, anxiety. I also struggle with chronic fatigue. I am I have very low energy, and I have heard accounts with the carnivore diet that people's energy levels go up. So that's another benefit I would really like to, I could really use. So those are my goals, and I have struggled with these issues. And then as far as diet, I used to have a sad diet, kind of, maybe, even though I come from Turkey and I've lived there my most of my life. And my diet was a little bit closer to maybe not exactly a sad standard American diet, but it included junk food and processed foods and all that. And about 10 years ago, I started really eliminating processed foods, especially, and trying to eliminate sugars and carbs from my diet. That was a fluctuating journey path. And finally, I think maybe in the last 5 years, I've been really mostly committed to the paleo diet. No carb, no, not no carbs, no gluten, no sugars, no grains. Again, fluctuatingly, but in the past 5 years, I'd say I have been mostly committed to this type of diet. I have experimented with keto. Keto was a little hard for me because I've never been the type who counted calories, and in keto you have to count calories and your carbs. And your fat intake, because keto is very fat focused. Carnivore is super fat focused. You're basically eating only animal products and a lot of fat, but you don't have to do any calorie counting, because you're not, as long as you're not counting carbs, you don't have to do calorie counting, because you're not going to be able to eat after a point when you're full, especially with meats, steak, beef patties. These are the things I eat on carnivore: chicken breast, turkey turkey patties, salmon, all of these things, eggs. I eat a lot of eggs too. All of these things, you don't have to count anything, and a ton of fat, which means for me, butter. You're not allowed to eat coconut or olive oil. Those are, because those are plants. You can't eat those. Then it wouldn't be considered plant-free. This is basically a plant-free keto diet. That's also another name for the carnivore diet. So I only eat meat and butter, basically, pretty much. Sometimes heavy cream. Heavy cream is kind of allowed in limitation in carnivore, because that's the kind of dairy. That's the kind of dairy that has the least amount of carbs. So when you're eating these things, and you're only allowed to eat these animal products and fat, you cannot eat more than your body needs. So you don't do any calorie counting, which was also an advantageous aspect of carnivore for me personally. So yeah, I've dealt with keto. So that's the background I'm coming from. I'm not jumping into it from a sad diet, because I've heard people who have jumped from sad diet into carnivore experience incredibly difficult, challenging side effects. And they persevered, at least the ones I have watched the videos of. They've persevered and gone on with the carnivore diet. So I think that's it for the first video. I'm on the 7th day. It is kind of hard to eat such a limited diet. I can see how you can get sick of burgers, eating burger patties, steak, and salmon, chicken, over and over and over again. You alternate between. But when you look at it, you don't. It's really, when I ate a non-carnivore diet, I was alternating between foods anyway too, so it hasn't been a big deal for me yet. Yeah, I think that is all for now. I am not experiencing anything wow to report on my 7th day yet, and I'll keep making these videos. Okay, bye! See you next time.